So good evening, everybody. How are you all? As you can see from that, we are introducing a new project. It's going to be the remote control 3D printed tractor by Mackit Pro. And I have three very, very special guests today. The first one is someone who's changed his name specially for this project, formerly known as Fleetwood J. I introduce Farmer J.
Hello. Yes,
Hello.
just one night only. Farmer J.
Okay. Next, we have a man who is just all-round brilliant. That's all I can really say about him. Dave Say.
Hello.
You've got your own tractor, I see.
Yeah, not as good as yours, though. I mean, it's only a small one.
Yet, so yours is much better than mine at the moment. So my third guest, I feel so privileged to have him on the show. This is a man, I have been in email contact with him, and I've spoken to him for the first time today face to face, and he is every bit as brilliant as he seems on his emails. He's just fantastic. Introduced to you, Mackit, the author of the project.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Not a problem. Here. So you see that I'm jumping on my seat. I'm so excited. What I'll do is I will just quickly go through the comments, because you know we lose the comments very easily. So first to comment is James Tubridy, who promised us he'll be live in 29 minutes. And you can see that he was indeed back. So we have Adrian Langley. Everyone's very excited about this. They're all commenting before the show started. We have Roger Kendall. Nice to have you back. Chris Davies is on. Obviously, that's meant to say hi all. How are you, Chris? We have Fleetwood J commenting as well as being Farmer J. Multi-talented that he is.
Yeah, twin.
Caldecott Bus Spotters. Hi, Penny. I'm uploading a new video of Ian tonight. Yeah, because we love seeing, being on holiday, I love to see my colleagues while I'm on my days off. And we have Marty McFly says hello to everyone. So, yeah, new project. I want to make a little bit of a plea to begin with. Horlicks is still not with us. He's had a little bit of bad luck. I have made sure the description is up to date. My plea today simply is if anyone could show their appreciation to the work that Horlicks does, just show him that I know he knows he's loved and we do all love him. But if you go into the description and if you could consider perhaps buying him a coffee or something, that would be really wonderful. Or, you know, if you've got slightly deeper pockets, I appreciate not everybody is as wealthy as other people, but maybe cheer him up with something on his Amazon wish list. Or just drop him a message, use the Routemaster email address and just drop us a message and say how much you're missing him. I'm sure that'll give him a little bit of a lift. So yeah, obviously he can't be with us tonight. But we do still have 3 wonderful guests. So Mr. Mackett, can I call you Mr. Mackett?
Yes, you can call me. My name is Cristobal here. Chris, you can call me Chris if you want.
Okay. I have the saying, you can call me anything you like, but just don't call me late for dinner.
Okay.
So would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Chris. I'm from Spain. I'm a high school teacher, and I'm the designer of the OpenRC tractor. Okay, and all of the other tools like the dumper trailer and the normal trailer, the fertilizer, and everything like that. And Benny asked me to be here, and it's an honor, of course. It's my first time like video. I've made some videos, maybe you've seen them, of the building tractor, but I haven't done any live video. And my English it's okay. It's okay. I can manage, but it's not perfect. So sorry if I make some mistakes. That's it. I hope that I can, I don't know, help you, or we can discuss the project if you have any doubts, anything. I think that's it.
Yeah, I've already been emailing you with various queries. Obviously, sometimes it's not until you actually get the pieces in your hand that you can figure out what it is. But sometimes I've been planning on printing them and I'm saying to you, oh, what does this bit do? I think the famous one is spent ages trying to figure out what this was.
It was in the picture I showed you.
Yeah. Oh, that was a night. I'm like, okay, well, I'll wait till I've printed it off. And then I assembled the pieces and I'm like, I still can't figure out where that goes.
Yeah, it wasn't in the description, so part of it was my fault.
No, that's fine. We'll figure it all out. So I'm looking in the background. Oops, I've got me on instead of you. I'm looking in your background, and I visited a lot of your web pages and things, so I recognize quite a few of those projects.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Every single thing there has been designed and made by you.
Yeah, that's true. I think, yeah, everything. Yeah, I haven't realized that, but yes, that's true.
No, it's fine. So you mean you didn't set that background up as a show-off background then?
No. I have it. I had it already here. It's like my workshop or whatever. I have my 3D printers there, and my most important projects, I like to have them there because sometimes friends or family come, so I can show them new projects and everything.
Yeah, because there's no point making anything unless you can show it off, is there?
Yeah.
Yes, true.
Okay, so I'm going to kick you off with the first question. Why a tractor? It's not, when you think of a remote control object, the tractor isn't the first thing that comes to mind. Why a tractor?
Well, my father is a farmer. Okay, now he's retired, but it's a farmer. So he had his first tractor. It was this one. It was 1971, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And we still have it. It still works. We don't use it to for the field on to farm anything, but it works. So I like it since I was a child, and I don't know. I just thought I would like to have. I don't know. I was searching for some project with a 3D printer. I am always searching for some projects with a 3D printer, and I don't know if like it's like kind of for my father also, like kind of an homage or something like that. I don't know. I like tractors since I was a child because I am used to being around them. So
yeah. It's probably the same reason that I like buses. I work around buses, so yeah. I mean, what attracted me to it was the fact it's a little bit unusual. So did you make a tractor, or did you have all of the attachments and trailers in mind when you designed it?
No, at the beginning it was just a tractor, but then it was I could I don't know, increase the family or make more different tools and attachments, trailers and everything, so I can play with them. And one thing led to another, and I have like I don't know 6 or 7 tools. And I have more ideas, but I haven't had the time to. One thing led to another, and I have like I don't know. Sorry, something happened with the audio.
That's okay. It was just I was trying to be professional and streamless. It was saying it was a problem streaming to my YouTube channel, so I was just loading up the YouTube channel. So can I just do a quick sound check? 'Cause we did have a problem earlier on.
Well, I can hear you.
Good.
And I can hear you.
Lovely. And Chris?
Yes, for me it's okay.
Yeah, no, I just got a bit of an error come up, and maybe because I was loading up YouTube, that there was a problem. Because I did notice a comment that said, could we have a link to your channel? So I want to get that up as quickly as I could. So yeah, sorry, yeah, carry on.
No, I was saying that at the beginning it was just a tractor, but then I thought, why not? So, and I also have more ideas. I wanted to build I don't know how to say it, the part that goes in front of the tractor just to take things like, sorry?
No, that's, I just said yes, yeah.
Okay.
But funny enough, it was one.
Yeah, the bucket. Yeah.
The bucket. Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't know the name in English.
No,
So that's
fine.
one of my ideas, but you know what? Now I don't have a lot of time, so it's difficult with the work and everything.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's going to take us over 6 months to make this because of the pace that we'll do it at. So who knows? You know, once we get to the end of the project that we're planning, it may not be the end of the tractor. You know, obviously you'll bring new things out.
Who knows? Who knows? I would like to, but I can't promise anything.
Yeah. Marty McFly's asking, is your tractor a Massey Ferguson? I think he's a bit of a Massey Ferguson fan.
Yeah, it is. But here in Spain, it was sold with another name called Ebro.
That makes a lot of sense then, because I think it was Marty who a couple of weeks ago, he says it looks like a Massey Ferguson. And we would go, no, it's not a Massey Ferguson, it's an Ebron. But so
it's the same. They only changed the name and the front batch, but it's the same. Here so it was the 165D, I think, and the Massey Ferguson is 110 or something like that. Yeah, it's that one. It's the same.
Right. Yeah. So it's pretty much like Vauxhall cars in the UK, Opel in Europe.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So there you go. I've learned something today already.
Yeah, me too.
So my night is a success. So if anyone's got any more questions, by all means ask away. Have you got any questions, Dave? I'm sure you've got hundreds, haven't you?
Oh, well, from a fellow tractor enthusiast to Chris, yeah, I owned, not a lot of people know this, but I owned 8 vintage tractors, old tractors at one time. And I had the old grey Ferguson tractor. In fact, I had 2 of them. And the the most popular tractor really across here in this area of Yorkshire was Fordson tractors and Massey Ferguson tractors. And being an enthusiast and a young lad as I was at the time, I actually went farming and I drove a vast array of tractors, different tractors, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive. The old Massey Ferguson 165 was a sweet little tractor. It really was a sweet little tractor, and it would work quite hard as well. So yeah, I quite understand why you are doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And my hats are off to you because you know, there isn't any about in the market at all, apart from, you know, toys like this, for instance. But you know, such as what you're building is pretty unique, really.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to say thank you a lot today. I think you're too generous.
It's fine. I mean, we pretty much work on the basis of if there's a positive comment to say, we'll say it. If there's a negative, then we'll just not say anything at all. So the fact that people are giving nice comments, they're not just, I know what my audience are like. They won't just say a nice comment just to make a nice comment.
No.
You, Jay, anything to ask?
Not really, but I'm just saying.
To look up various things for a bit later on in the show, so I'm kind of relying on you two at the moment.
Yeah, but no, I'd just like to say hats off and such a detailed model, you know, where you can print at home and, you know, you can modify it if you wish, as well as, you know, build it stock. Either or, the combinations that you can do with the tractor is endless. I mean, you could have it different colors, like we were saying off stream, or you can keep it standard. You know, there is that type of thing, and I think it's such a unique project that it don't just come with the tractor, it comes with the accessories, you know, the trailers and the fertilizer and everything else. It's such amazing to see working details. As you say, with an RC model, all you see is the traditional, you know, big trucks, fast cars. You don't actually see something that's based on an older vehicle. And it's nice to see a retro vehicle, really. I'm a classic car nut myself. So, you know, I love anything classic. And I'll say hats off to you and well done.
Yeah. I mean, one of the main RC projects out there is the Formula One car, which is quite cliche, really, isn't it? Let's build a radio controlled car. And again, that's customizable. But yeah, like you say, this is unique and a little bit different. And
yeah,
and I think the possibilities are endless with this. I mean, you know, if we could arrange a meet and everyone comes down with their radio controlled tractors, maybe we could have some little competitions using your palette, which is so well designed.
Yeah,
it's absolutely amazing.
Did you print it with wood filament?
Right, I printed this with a wood filament. It's very, very cheap, and I thought, well, it's cheap enough to give it a go. It's come out slightly rough plasticky, but to me, it looks like lollipops. Let me put my light on. Now, that doesn't really help, does it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. No,
Sound's gone. Sound's gone, Penny.
Yeah.
Oh dear, we've got technical glitches again.
Yeah, your mic's switched off, Penny.
Yes.
That's it.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Right. I might have just knocked the mic. You know what my mic is like. It's a really, really good mic, but you so much as slightly touch it, the lead falls out. It's just so sensitive. It's more sensitive than my ex-boyfriend. Yeah. So, I mean, one of the possibilities is perhaps we can set up a couple of pallets, maybe with an egg cup on it with some water, and you've got to transport it from A to B through a slalom course. And I've noticed there was a couple of questions come up, which is the answer is you're not seeing the point. Like somebody says, well, how fast does it go? And it's like, well, tractors aren't meant to go fast. They're meant to just do a job.
Yeah, well,
It's quite slow. It's a tractor, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they say that it's a tractor, so it's
It's a tractor. It's not. If you want to race, then go and build a Formula One car.
Yeah.
But
right.
it's quite fun to drive it with the trailer. I mean, it's okay, the dumper or the other one, because, you know, backwards, it's not that easy for people who are not used to it. So you have to be, I don't know, skilled, and it's good fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tractor pulling competitions too, says Chris Campbelling.
Yeah.
I can't wait for mine to actually work on the beach.
Yeah. Fleetwood J actually lives by the coast, so he does a few things on the sand. So yeah, if he builds this, I'm sure he'll bring some videos out of tractors pulling things along the sand.
I'm sure he will.
And of course, you've got the little plow bit as well, haven't you? That we can build.
Yes. I also live near the beach, so I have a video with the plow, Monster Hunter plow.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% keen on that because the blades that you use. Horlicks has just made an appearance in the comments. How are you, Horlicks? And it actually reminds me of something. I know Horlicks would be asking this now if he was on the show. One of the comments that he made quite a few times when we were planning things between us was, he's like, oh my God, the parts fit so well. There is just absolutely precision. There's no give. You don't have to file anything down. Just absolutely amazing. Is that coincidence, or is it just that you really are a genius?
No, I'm not a genius. You know, it's not. I mean, one of the things that it's important, I think, is that I design everything. I print it with my printer, then I try, then redesign. You know how this works. So not one piece has been printed just one time. So everything is, you know, if I have to adjust 0.1 millimeters, I just do it. And I think that's important. But even with that, it also depends on your printer.
Yes, I was going to say that it must be a nightmare because obviously different people have different printers. They have different skill levels. I've just learned, I can't remember what it's called, but Cura has just come out with a new feature where it can reduce. Obviously, the way that 3D printer works, it lays down a line of plastic. If, for example, your first layer is a little bit, if it's a little bit too close, what it's going to do is it's going to squish the plastic outwards.
Yes.
So, of course, if you've got a precise piece, with having that out a little bit,
it's not going to fit.
Yeah, it's not going to fit. And obviously, that means that a designer of a project can't physically design something that will work 100% all of the time. But I've got a low budget printer, and Horlicks has an Ultimaker. So we are, in terms of quality, we're different ends of the scale, but we're both finding those parts are absolutely superb. Cannot fault them. So Horlicks has just made another comment. Hi all, great to see the author of the project.
Hi Horlicks.
So yeah, you'll love Horlicks when you see him. He's such a lovely guy. So yeah, as I said earlier in the show, if you could consider buying him a coffee or something, just to, I know he knows we all love him, but just if you could show your appreciation, he deserves it. So I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to do. Right, what I'll do then, I know I've shown this quite a few times, but I'm going to show you our modified spreadsheet. There is a spreadsheet available with the oh, it can't load it. Okay, sorry, bear with me, guys. So yeah, what we've done is we've taken Chris's spreadsheet, which is good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But because myself and Horlicks, we tend to use the spreadsheets you see there, I've got a box that says purchased. That's for us to make little marks. So here I've had to redesign some of the numbers. It's just easier for me to label everything with numbers. Because I've got my little label maker, and so this has basically got everything listed. So as I've said a few times, it is a lot of money for the total project, £347.38. The prices do change on a day-to-day basis, so it could be about 5% more or less, but don't be put off with it. It works out about £11.58 a week. I have bodged up a little bit with some of the early weeks. I'll just change the screen. So what I've tried to do is set up a list of what you need for each week so that you don't have to go out and buy everything in 1 week. The reason there's so many parts listed is, as you can see here, the lower chassis is printed in black. So what I've then said is, right, well, you've printed this piece in black, you might as well chuck a few more black prints in as well, just to save a bit of time on the print bed. When I tried to go not more than £20 a week, but these ball bearings, I didn't put the price in properly. So when I did put the price in, it's chucked the price up to £26.63. And it took me ages to figure all this out, and I wasn't going to go and change it just for one thing. So I have ballsed up a little bit in that you can see week 2 is £18.90. Week 3 is just over 20 quid. Week 4, £18.64. But by the time you get to about, where are we? Right. To about week 10, we've actually purchased so many parts for it that there isn't an awful lot to buy. So you see it's now starting to come out at £7. This one's a little bit more expensive, and that's because of the ESCs. Then it goes down to 11, and then we're spending about £2 there, £3 there, £1.45, and then £1.50. I'm just going to spin this really. At this one, we're spending 6p in the week. And then by the time we get to, there we go, look, we've got a week there of nothing at all. You can see this all right, can't you? Yeah, that's fine. I know it's hard to see, but so week 24, we're not actually spending any money at all week 25. Week 26, we're only spending £1.27 because we're working on the fertilizer, and 93p. Nothing there. So now, and I think you can see what's coming. By the time we get to week 30, we are £109 under budget. No, I've done that wrong. Sorry, bear with me a sec. I've gone too far. Right, there we go. So by the time we get to about week 20, we're about £69 under budget, which then means we can buy the transmitter, the battery, and the battery charger, which is the biggest cost, I'm afraid. And then that puts us only £14 over budget, and then it starts to come down again. The schedule, which I've put in the spreadsheet as well, because as you all know, I can only stream generally 3 weeks out of 4. And this is because I work late shifts. So we've tried to block everything into blocks of 3. So you can see here the 21st of September, that's today, that's the Q&A show. Next week there should be no show, but I'll see if I can do something. Now, Mackett has a YouTube channel. He does the actual building of the tractor, I think the instructions are absolutely wonderful. And there's I think is it six episodes to do the whole tractor.
Yeah.
One is electronics testing. One is help me, I can't remember.
First is with the differential, I think.
Yeah, the third one is a differential, and what I've tried to do is split that video into 3, and that's mainly down to the parts cost. So we'll do the differential over 3 weeks, then we'll take a week break, then we'll work on the steering, which will be the opposite end of the tractor, and then we'll take a week break. Then we will be looking at a modification that myself and Horlicks are planning, which is the LED mod. The following week will be the cabin. The cabin is a very simple build. It will be quite long compared to the other episodes, but it's the most difficult thing I think about the cabin is the fact that it's going to take multiple print beds. But once you've got all of the parts printed off, it's, what are we looking at? 10, 15, 20 minutes to assemble it. Not very long. So I think to split that into 3 would be a little bit of an insult. And again, the leveler isn't too complicated. Again, it's just printing the parts off. So in that block of 3.
Sorry, the cabin it's optional. I mean, if you want, you can have it with cabin or without.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, obviously we'll explain it. I mean, all of the parts that aren't the tractor are optional. Someone might look at the leveler and go, well, I've got no need for that leveler. So obviously they don't build it. Personally, I think anyone that doesn't want the trailer is a bit of a fool, but that's because I think the trailers are absolutely awesome. So yeah, then we'll take another break, and then we'll work on the Almost There. I called it Almost There because that's what the video is called, and it's pretty much connecting the 2 halves of the tractor into one. And then we have another week break, and then we work on something completely different, which will be the lifter, and that we'll try and split that down into 3 weeks. That might be too much to split it into 3. So we may, for example, do it over 2 weeks and then do something else for the 3rd week. Then we have another break. And then the part that I'm so looking forward to, we're going to be doing the trailer over 3 weeks. And that's the flat trailer. In the video, you might have spotted the tractor driving up on the back of it. That's the simpler trailer of the 2. And then we'll finish off the tractor, and that should be round about the week when we get the transmitter. That's why I've held off the tractor, because if you've got a fully built tractor and you haven't got the transmitter to drive it with, it's a bit pointless. So that's why I've held that off. And then I've split the dump trailer into 6, and there's 2 reasons for that. One is that it may be a little bit more complicated than it looks, so we'll have that extra 3 weeks to build it.
Yeah, that's true. It's a project that I started like it was easy, but it's not. Even to design it, it cost me several weeks to design it because it's difficult to make it work, and I wanted to work with a little bit of weight. You know, I mean, you cannot put a lot of weight, but it works with like medium weight. You can actually use it with sand or something like that. I think it should work.
Yeah. Well, the other reason I've split it over 6 weeks is just quite simply that the build pictures, there's 12 of them, 12 stages to build it. So what we'll do is we'll tackle 2 pictures at a time. A couple of the stages look quite simple. Some of the stages look more complicated. So if we find that perhaps we need 3 weeks to do 2 of the pictures, that's fine, because there's a couple of them that looks like we'll do very, very simply. And then lastly, we will be looking at doing the fertilizer, which is Oh, I think I've saved one of the best bits till last. It's just absolutely amazing, that fertilizer. And then obviously there are things that we haven't. Why is my, there we go. I'm trying to change the screens and it wasn't working. Yeah, so what we've yeah, there's parts that I haven't included. There's the plow, there's the counterweight. We will introduce those into the project. The counterweight, for example, that's not very complicated, is it? So
no, it's not very.
Yeah.
And about the lifter, I think it's the weakest, or I don't know. It's really good. It's working really good, but it doesn't lift too much weight. I mean,
right,
you know,
which is why you designed this piece.
Yes, but even with that, you can put something, but don't. I mean, if you even, for example, a mobile phone is too heavier for, you know, because it works with a screw, so you have to know it before building it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because
it's to show, but it's not for.
I didn't want to show any bits off. Obviously, I've had to print some of the bits, and I've looked at things working, and I didn't want to show any bits off until we actually build it. But this is the lifter. I'm gonna, sorry guys, I'm just gonna sort of hog the screen. This is the lifter. Now, the problem I had, you've got the motor at the top, and you've got the screw thread, and you've got a hole there for a screw. I don't know if it was because it was too stiff or because my tolerance was on the printer, but that screw didn't actually hold in, and then you actually found that the motor was going round and not actually lifting this. I will reprint this in case it's the printer, but I'm looking at ways perhaps to try and fix it, maybe make that hole slightly bigger, say 3.5 mil, and try to put in a 4 mil, an M4 screw, so that the screw is, I've got a feeling what it is because I printed, if you print like a block with a hole on the top, you tend to find that the holes are absolutely precise. If you print so that the holes are on the side, sometimes because it's printing layer by layer, sometimes it gives a little bit of a problem with the
it depends on the printer that I was saying. It's,
yeah,
for me it was okay, but then of course every printer is different.
But obviously one of the things we try to do is, if I can find a problem, I will highlight that and then look at the way to do a fix, because if I get that problem, there's a good chance somebody else will get the same problem.
Yeah.
So
the good solution would be to change this threaded part and to a lead screw. I mean, one metal, actually a metal one, not one printed. I wanted to print as much things as I could, but then but if you change it for a, you know, like with the damper trailer, I haven't used a 3D printed lead screw. I use metal, actually a real one.
Yes, I did notice that. I've actually had a problem with mine. I've ordered mine about 2 months ago, and it didn't show up. And apparently the courier has delivered it, but so I've had to reorder that. But I think it costs something like £2 or £3. So to be honest with you, you know, when it comes to things like the screws, I will always print that on the highest quality I can, because obviously it's a fairly precise part. So it took something like 3 or 4 hours just to print just the screw. And to be honest with you, for sake of a couple of quid, I'd probably buy the metal one. But I like your idea of perhaps replacing that. So that's something I might look at doing. We won't be doing the lifter for many weeks. So there's plenty of time for me to have a look. And obviously I'll feed back to you, Chris. And then you can either say, well, I don't like what you've done, I'm not going to include it. Or, you know, you can say, oh, one of our viewers has done this. I
try to, because that's one thing that I have like there waiting. if I have some time, I'll try to think of some solution or redesign some part.
Yeah. It's just that fine tweaking. Like I say, my screw thread may not work simply because of the way I printed it. Maybe I had a problem with the printer. I don't know. So I'm just going to go back through some of the comments because we have missed yeah, I may have missed some of the comments. So obviously there's a lot of people saying hello to Horlicks, and we hope you're all back soon. Horlicks has said, if anyone on stream you want to tell the viewers what's happened, feel free. So then they may understand the delay, but I'll leave that up to you. But nothing to be put on Facebook. Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, I've just said you've had some bad news. Obviously it's your information to tell, but yeah, that's fine. Marty McFly says, I'd love to build it even without the electronics, but I don't have a printer. What I've said, Horlicks, obviously Horlicks can't help at the moment, but what we've said is that we have this little problem where we will be more than happy to help anybody with the parts. But if lots and lots of people come to us and say, can you print the parts for us? Then obviously that's going to, we're going to be doing is printing all of these parts for the next 6 months, and we won't be able to use our printers for personal stuff. We've got a couple of people we are printing for. So, and the trouble is these commercial print services, they're quite expensive, aren't they? But I mean, with this project, if you had the whole project printed commercially, it would actually be cheaper for you to buy a printer and then buy all the materials and print them yourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, have a chat and send me a message. I can see, see what I can do. I'll try wherever I can, but obviously I can't print things for everybody. And I think the electronics are the easy bit, because to get those, all you got to do is go click, click, click. Here's my credit card details, and then you've got them yourselves. So we've got Steve Graham. Horlicks, hope you're well. So Marty McFly saying, could I buy the parts for just a tractor from you? That is something I'm guessing that would be. Well, I don't know. I'll ask the question. How you deal with it is up to you.
It's difficult because sometimes I have received some emails like, can you print? But when I ask for postage and everything, it's going to be quite expensive.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of hours, and it's the same that you said. I have to be printing other things. I use it also for my school. I'm a teacher.
Of course.
So it's difficult for me to print for others. And if I start with one, then it's going to be another. So
No,
I'm sorry, but it's difficult.
Yeah, no, that's the same. I mean, I would love to make the parts for everybody, but especially at the moment, I'm working such long hours. We're actually very short staffed, so it's not uncommon for me to be doing a 14, 15-hour day, 5 days a week, and I don't, at the moment, I hardly have time for myself, let alone for other people. Steve Graham is saying, would be an idea to have a page for this build. There's a lot of information needed. Yeah, we were in the process of setting up like a Penny and Horlicks Facebook page, because if you remember with the planetarium, I made a little pipe bender so we could bend the small pipes. And obviously I want to share that file with people. And the most simple way to share that is to pop it into the file section of the Facebook page. So it is something we're getting around to doing. And it is coming a little bit late. So Chris Davies is asking, how's the two women, Dave?
Well, they're all right. They're sat up there at the moment. So yeah, they're all right.
So
poor Chris there. What we're on about?
No, I've got no idea. I'm just asking the question out of courtesy.
We get figures for our bus.
Okay.
Is that next week's build for the bus?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
No,
you
this week.
are actually ahead of me now, Dave.
This week.
They are passengers for the bus.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. We've. I'll tell you what, Dave. I'll put you on full screen so everyone can see it. Because I haven't actually seen this yet.
You haven't seen this yet? This is the beatnik girl.
Yeah.
There she is. And then the spoiler.
Oh, I did see that on Facebook.
Did you?
Yeah.
Facebook, yeah. Ooh. Look
Yes.
at that.
That makes me very excited, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
This is the geek show, really, isn't it? Oh, we're getting a bit of plastic for the side of the bus. I'm very excited about it. You know,
I'm looking forward to the figure.
right now are driving around in their cars with a lowered suspension and their remapped engines, and here's us going, well, I'm excited over the side of a bus.
I'm looking forward to the figure. That'll add to my diorama quite nicely.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What I was going to say was the Facebook group for the tractor would be an ideal scenario, really, for people to join easily and for people to gain the information and for people to join in, you know, because, I mean, obviously that's how we met. We met through, you know, the Routemaster and everything. Yeah. And, you know, I can't see that there's any problem there. You know, we can invite Chris there to come along to the group, and you know, it can be our expert, which he obviously is, because he built the thing, and you know, that'll be, as far as I'm concerned, it's a win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, and then of course people can show off their builds, just like with the Routemaster group. If someone's having a problem with a particular stage, they can communicate with people that have already built it. Yeah,
you can keep the YouTube stream exactly the same and connect it with the tractor group. Yeah, and you know.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, but again, this is the whole point of these shows, is to bring people together with the common interest.
Yeah,
and it, well, I'll say it's a great group. I mean, look at how the Routemaster group has grown.
Yeah,
that came about. I'm trying to put this politically correct, or also subtly. It came about because of a disagreement, and we've kind of said, we don't like the way that's being done. We prefer it to be done like this, and it's just grown, hasn't it?
Yeah,
and it's grown with quality members. We don't have. You know, you just get some members there just to take. You know, all of our members are giving as much as they're taking, and they're also happy to show off what they've done. And it's just, it's been wonderful. And I can see any group that our viewers are involved with would just be a really good group.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I've got a bit of a Facebook problem at the moment because social media, it can cause so many problems. But I think when you're putting Facebook to a good use, like these build groups, it kind of makes me happy.
Yeah.
A very good friend of mine, Yasmin, says, good evening, Penny. She's a lovely lady. If you want to check out her channel, if you want to check out anyone's channel, Mackett, if you could do me a favor, if you could just write a comment, anything in the comments, because then what happens is that shows up on YouTube. Then you get 3 little dots and people can click it, and then they can go to your YouTube channel. It's just a little bit of an easy way to advertise. So Adrian Langley says, has anyone else who's printing off the tractor, could they print extra ones? Again, this would be where the Facebook group would come in quite useful. If someone else is printing the parts off, maybe they could help. Have a little chat between yourselves, work out how much you want for the parts and the postage. Marty McFly is saying, no problem, thanks, that's understandable. Maybe one day I'll get my own printer. And that is the aim for me, is if we can get...
I'm trying to write, but I don't see the, I have the private chat.
You can actually, right, okay, sorry, forgive me, other guys. On the right-hand side, it should say...
I have comments?
Private chat and comments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But in comments, I can't write anywhere. I mean,
can you not?
I'm the same, Chris. I'm the same. I can't write a comment in there.
I can't either. I have to go onto my
I thought
mobile.
you could. Okay, well you can see. Okay, well, I'll add that to the feedback at the end of the show. Then,
could you add it into the chat, Penny?
yes, I'm actually going to, but
You know,
it's always easier when I can get other people to do the work. But on this case, I've got to do it myself. So it's not a problem. Just give me a moment and I will. Right. So. As you know, I'm not the expert on doing lots of things. There we go. So that is the link for, let me get the full name of the Mackett projects. Now, he doesn't just do the tractor. There are some wonderful projects on there, projects that I'll probably be having a little go at myself. And I really urge you to have a look at the edge clock. That is absolutely amazing. It's such an interesting concept. I'm not going to say anything about it because if I describe it in full detail, you won't need to go to his channel and have a look.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not very active in social also or YouTube, but I try to upload as many things as I only use it for projects. I mean, there's no personal stuff because
But if you start flooding your YouTube channel with irrelevant stuff, then it just puts people off. People know where to go for a project on this and a project on that, and when people start doing stuff that isn't relevant to their channel, it just puts them off.
Yeah.
Right. So I might have. Oh, I'm nearly caught up on the channel. So Chris Cabling says, hopefully not too excited, but I can't think what that's. Right, so we love. Yeah. We've done really, really well today. I was kind of getting ready to tell people off, but we do a lot of innuendos and rude jokes on our channels. Obviously I'm trying to keep it down because we have got a very special guest, but everybody's sort of behaving all by themselves. So right, what else was I going to say? I cannot remember. Right, I think you've just got earned yourself a few subscribers.
Okay.
But yeah, do watch his channel because it is, I'll drive you there because I'm promoting his channel, but I think you'll stay because the projects are really good. I will give that edge clock a go one day.
That's not, my purpose is not to get more subscribers or anything. As you can see, I have I don't know, but very low. But I only do the videos to help people to build the project. But I don't care if I have 1,000 or 100 or 20 or I don't care really.
No, but the point of subscribing is that when you do release something,
I know.
Notified. Yeah. No, I when I first started YouTube, it was like, oh, how many subscribers can I get? Now, I'm really not concerned because I would rather have a low number of good quality subscribers than a large number of just, people subscribe just for the sake of subscribing.
Yeah.
And I like to think people like what I do, and that's why they stick around. The numbers I actually look at is the number of subscribers I've lost, because then I can see what I'm always looking at ways of. I mean, I could say, and I could make videos every day, and I would enjoy them, but it's that. Oh, Marty McFly says that link brings my channel up. Okay, I may have made a mistake then. So bear with me. I thought that.
But
No, it's okay. I have I tried it right now.
Okay then. I'll tell you what, bear with me. I will just check that link myself.
I was going to say, could Chris put his channel in the private chat and then
It does. Yeah. No, that link that I.
It's
that
working.
link-
It's working.
Yeah,
It's working, is it? Oh, that's
yeah.
good.
Everybody
Yeah.
else it works for, so I don't know what's happened then. But don't click. Don't do right click and open a new window. Otherwise, our viewing figures will just go. Poof. So yeah. No, that's fine, Marty. You might just hit the wrong button or something. Yasmin, are you still watching? I need to ask you something right quick. And I've forgotten what I was going to say now. So I'm just going to check the. Oh yes, right. I want to ask your advice on something. I've been thinking about what features to put on what channels on the receiver. Now, obviously, channel 1 and 2 has got to be the throttle and the steering. That has to be that. Because I've not actually built it yet, so I don't know exactly what the features do. Would you like the dump trailer, the motor for the dump trailer? Would you consider putting these on the switches?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks to me like those switches is full speed forward, full speed back, and in the middle is stop.
Yes.
So you would flick the switch, the motor will turn. When it gets to the point you want it to get to, you put it back to the middle, and then when you want it to come down, it goes down.
That is correct. And that's also the same for the lifter if you want.
And the lifter, yeah. Because I was thinking, because we probably only need 4 channels, possibly 5.
Yes, but the problem, it depends on all of the tools. But the problem is that the 4-channel radio doesn't have these 3 position switches.
Yeah, because
I have both of them. I can show you.
Yeah, because I thought definitely put the. Oh, he's disappeared.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's fine.
That's the 4-channel, and you have this potentiometer, and you can.
Let me just pop you on full screen because obviously we lose a little bit of detail when we have you on part 4. There we go.
Here with this knob, this potentiometer, you can adjust the 4-channel. I think you can see it right there.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't have the 3 position switches.
Yeah, I thought that would perhaps be best for the flat trailer.
Yes.
Because that servo moves so quickly. If you put it on a switch, it would go from top to bottom like in half a second.
Yeah. For the trailer, for the ramps or the rear arms of the tractor, it is better to use this because you can adjust exactly the position. But for the lifter and dumper trailer, it's better the 3 position switch.
Right. And I would probably use both of the switches for different motors. I can't remember why now. No, I can't remember why. But yeah, it's there's a little.
You need throttle and steering. Then you need 1 knob potentiometer. And then you need 1 3-position switch, maybe not 2 or 3, but between 4 and 6, there is nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
So I would recommend the 6-channel. It's a little bit more expensive, but you have everything there.
Well, to be honest with you, if you went out, I looked at the prices, and the 3-channel is about half the price of the 6-channel. Yeah. And it looks to me, if you bought the 3-channel one, you'd probably end up wanting another one because I think you probably need 4 channels minimum, don't you? So
for everything, yes.
Yeah. So if you bought the 3-channel, you'd end up buying another 3-channel, but then you couldn't use all 3 channels because channel 1 and 2. So you might as well just buy the 6-channel one.
Yeah.
As you've said before, Fleetwood. So I'm still going to call you Fleetwood, even though you've got Farmer J by your name. But you've said that it's, you can always use this for other things.
Yeah.
I personally, I plan on building the open Formula 1 car. so I'll probably use this because I wouldn't use the tractor and the Formula One car at the same time. So once you've got this, you've got it for every single radio control project you could ever want. Could possibly even use it for a drone. I know it would be better with the switches, but you know, you could use it. And this actually is a very. Sorry.
You can use it for any car or everything. Yeah. It's a good radio. And I bought the 3-channel first, and then I ended up with the 4th channel and then the 6th channel. So now I have 3 of them, and I only use the 6th channel one. So I strongly recommend that you buy that one.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I bought this because that was what you put in your list. That's the only reason I bought it. I then actually watched a review of it online on YouTube, and it is actually a very good receiver. It does feel, this is my honest opinion, other opinions may vary, it does feel slightly cheap in the outer casing, but it's the inside that counts, and the insides are actually very, very good. And I do like this rubbery feel on the steering bit, so you've got a nice grip. But I've told everyone this story, but I'll tell it for the benefit of you. When I got it, obviously it's got the 6 battery compartment on the bottom, so of course I went out and I bought a load of batteries. Then I watched the review, and that's when I found out that you can actually remove this battery compartment
and use a battery.
You can plug in the battery that we're already buying for the tractor. So I didn't need to go out and buy the batteries, but it gives me a choice.
Yeah, I use batteries also because this year.
I'll probably use the LiPo batteries. I mean the charger as well. I mean I don't play with LiPo batteries much, but I was absolutely amazed by it, by the way that it fast charges it to start with, then it slows the charge down, and then it gives a little alarm once it's fully charged so that you can't overcharge it. I think it switches off as well, doesn't it?
Yes, so, and it balances each cell.
Yeah.
To have exactly the same voltage.
Because this is going to sound grim and bleak, but these batteries apparently they can catch fire if you're not careful. So
yes, I have written some in my webpage. I have some instructions and some recommendations, and you have to be careful, but you don't have to worry. It's not that dangerous, but it's true that you don't have to leave them like unattended or charging for really long periods of time.
No.
Don't water or fire them. Of course, that's I think logical. But
I mean, that they do come with all of these warnings, and it does sound like, oh my God, it's really scary. But to be honest with you, most of the warnings are just common sense ones anyway.
Yeah.
You wouldn't chuck a battery in an open fire, but they all come with warnings: do not dispose of in the fire. But they're just common sense things, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. So, I think I've covered everything. Have you got anything to say, Dave or Jay, or anyone in the comments?
No, not really. I think you have covered everything. It's been very, very informative. Very informative indeed.
I've learned a lot tonight.
And the project as a whole, even though I personally aren't doing it, I'd like to be involved in hanging on, if you like, or just popping into it now and again, if that's all right.
Well, we need you, Dave. You're our source of information for everything.
I'll tell you a little story. When I was 16, I had a David Brown tractor. It was a TVO tractor, worked on tractor vaporizing oil. So you started it off on petrol, and then when it got warm, you turned it over to TVO, kerosene. And this tractor, I used to take it around on L plates, because in the UK, when you're 16, you could drive a tractor on L plates. Many years ago, of course. And I I used to take it to vintage tractor rallies and what have you. And one particular tractor rally was in 1980, I believe, when the Humber Bridge opened. And I actually drove the first tractor across the Humber Bridge.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
that's my claim to fame when I was 16. So, yeah, and I did 85 miles on that tractor that day.
Wow.
Nice.
It took me 8.5 hours.
I can believe that, yeah.
Blimey.
Do you know what the embarrassing thing is for me is that the age that you were driving tractors over the Humber Bridge, I was looking at all these guys that had these tractors at shows and things and thinking, what a bunch of saddos. And now here I am building tractors. And I mean, Dave, most people know anyway, Dave's got a channel as well, and he's got little little engines and things, and they're absolutely fascinating. Yeah. You know, he's little engine. Hang on, let me just try. Sorry, bear with me a sec, Dave. There we go.
Stationary engine. I don't have lifters. I actually have petter engines, but
yeah, you have them in your garden, propped up on bits of wood, presumably so they don't fall through the grass. And then these videos, you just got these videos of these engines running, and they're like 3 or 4 minute videos, and I'm watching it, and then it gets to the end, and I'm like, oh, is that it? Oh, we want more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've gone from calling people like you a saddo to admiring you. So.
Well, we go to these shows and we can put our engines out of these shows and just get in a chair and relax and listen to these engines putting away.
Do you have the hanky with the 4 knots on it as well?
Oh, no.
I think I sort of fall in that group as well. Like what you say, Penny, is like when you're a kid, you walk around and go, God, this is boring. What a load of,
Yeah.
And then what started my love affair of stuff like that was Fred Dibner. I mean,
yes.
I started watching him, and then all of a sudden I just saw mechanical stuff in different lights. You know, just the way he used to run. Is it Betsy, or wherever he's his tractor?
Yeah.
And he was just amazing, and I loved his programs. And when he'd gone, I thought really quite sad. You know, I thought we've lost the national treasure on. And
the trouble is, you lose him just as a lot of people have discovered him.
Yeah.
And but I mean, for me, I mean, what got me into a lot of the older stuff is, funnily enough, my family history. I've been researching now for coming up for 20 years, and I'm not just into names and dates of birth. Oh, sorry, just fill you in. I have a really messy desk, and I drop things a lot because it's not organized. Sorry. I said to the guys before the show, I made a bit of a cock up, and I bought a. Sorry. Right, guys. Sorry, I've got to disappear. I've got a delivery. I cocked up, and I've set a delivery to come tonight, and they said it'll be between 8:30 and 10 o'clock. So I'm going to ask Dave, well, the three guys, if they can just sort of chat or something. I'm really sorry. I know it's really unprofessional, but I've got to disappear until this delivery arrives.
That's fine. Yeah,
take it away.
That's fine. We'll chat among ourselves. Go on, Fleetwood.
As I said, part of how I got into liking transport and old stuff was my dad was the station master at Manchester Piccadilly Station during the 1970s, and I used to always remember of him in his British Rail uniform.
Wow.
And I absolutely love anything. And where I live now, which is Fleetwood, which is near Blackpool, we have all the heritage trams. So you see the balloon trams, the boat trams, the Bolton 66, the standard 147. So I'm always surrounded by old and classic things, and I absolutely love it. And in July this year, those who've not checked my channel out, have a look. There's a video from Tram Sunday in Fleetwood, and it covers all sorts of old vehicles in there, old buses in there, and that's just my love affair of old things. And I think they have more character than the modern stuff, and they last longer as well.
Yeah, built to last. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nothing like good old, and I know we're keeping Chris out here, but good old British engineering.
Yeah.
When it was good old British engineering. And now it doesn't seem to last 5 minutes. You know, I mean, we've probably all got modern cars and or modern-ish cars, and a modern-ish car now, the average person in the street can't work on his car because it needs a specialist computer plugging into it, and it's not a case of changing the spark plugs because they're not fitted with normal spark plugs. They're fitted with something else that's totally different, a pack of spark plugs, and that pack of spark plugs might have to be put on the computer and, you know, programmed onto the car. And the average person in the street can't do that. And it's like plastics nowadays. Most plastics have a due date when it's due to expire. And you'll probably notice that with like your garden furniture, it'll have a due date on it, and where it'll go real brittle and just break and go real subtle.
Or you'll sit on it and fall backwards and it's all pieces.
That's right, yeah. And that's due to it breaks down over time, and it's got like it's time expanded, and so nothing lasts. You know, if you had an old dining chair from 1920 and you put that outside and you use that for sitting on, that you'd probably still have that around today, you know, from 1920, because when that was built, it was built to last, you know. And going back to Fred Dibner, he was a lovely chap, Fred Dibner. He liked his pints, he liked his drink, and he liked to chat an awful lot. And you know, that was to detriment of his marriage, really. You know, because he liked to chat and drink rather than go home and be with his wife. You know, he was a lovely chap. I actually met him back in the 80s, and I was collecting tractors and engines then in the 80s, and he shook me by the hand and he said, you know, you've got a hobby for life, lad. You've got a hobby for life, you know, and make sure you keep doing it, what you're doing, and teach your kids as well, you know, the old ways. And thankfully, my son's followed in my footsteps, and, you know, he's got a collection of engines now, and he's interested in vintage buses and tractors and what have you. And in fact, he has a tractor of his own, like, so, you know, an old tractor of his own from the 40s. So, you know, and I suppose there's another old adage there as well. So long as we're buying old things like this and good things, you know, we're not swaying over to buying too many beers and too many, you know, things that can or something, you know. Or we're not gambling, or we're not, you know, we're not frittering our money away, really. We're living, you know, a nice life, aren't we? Or a nicer life.
Yeah. It's plus also the old engineering. As you say, they're built to last, and they do last. And it's nice to see things around, especially with Fleetwood, where we are. We have a lot of maritime stuff. And, you know, by the sea, it rusts like a bucket, if you know what I mean. But it's an adage, it's still there. I mean, we've got a trawler that's merrily rusting away, bless it, in the thing, and they're trying to save it and make it a tourist attraction to show people what it was like to actually be on a deep sea trawler. and stuff like that. And in September, I'm going to miss it this year, but we have a Heritage Open Day, and we open all the heritage sites in Fleetwood around, which is the Farris Lighthouse, the North Euston's Hotel, the Lower Lighthouse, the Mounts, and a few places like that. And then they do it all around the country in September, I think. It varies from council to council or area to area. You know, it's worth checking out and have a look, see if your council or your area are doing Heritage Open Days at the end of September. You know, it's worth going to explore around.
Absolutely.
Oh, hi guys, I'm back, so I do apologise about that.
One out of Penny.
Don't worry.
I'm now the proud owner of a slow cooker. No, I've been doing a lot of hours, and I've got obviously a slightly higher wage packet, so I thought I'll treat myself. I've been after a slow cooker for ages, and I think slow cookers pay for themselves, because you can go out and buy lots of cheaper cuts of meat, put them in a slow cooker, and you get a decent meal out of it. And the money you're saving on the meat, you can it sort of offsets the cost of the slow cooker.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't miss too much, I hope.
No. We've just got a nice comment in the comments there from Martin McFly, and he said the Perkins diesel engine was the best in the world. Well,
yeah.
The Perkins diesel engine, the P6 exactly. Oh, what a superb engine! The P6 engine was put into all sorts of vehicles in the 60s and early 70s.
That rings a bell. My stepdad had a Ford Granada, and I'm pretty sure he...
Penny, you've locked up?
Yeah, she froze.
Hello, am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Yeah, my stepdad had a Ford Granada, and I seem to remember him saying that the people who made the engine, one particular year, they'd gone on strike. So Ford had sourced a diesel engine from somewhere else. And I think it was either should have been the Perkins engine, or it was the Perkins engine because they went out on strike.
Yeah.
So it made that particular year of the Granada a bit of a little bit more sought after because of the engine.
Well, the Perkins P4 and P6s were put into the Massey Fergusons as well.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So, right. Something that I discussed with Chris. I would absolutely love to have Chris on every single episode, but that's not going to be able to happen. Obviously, Chris has a life. We're going to try and get him on, presumably still agreeable. If he's able to, we're going to try and get him on possibly the first show of each block of 3. So that, like, for example, when we start the steering, for example, before we begin the steering, then Chris can go through his experiences and the design thoughts. Don't expect him on all the time, because it depends on various factors. And like I say, you know, he's a teacher, so he's going to be really, really busy. So I suppose, do you have exam times, Chris?
Yes, I do. But also I have my family doesn't live exactly here, so sometimes it's difficult for me. I'll try to be on some of them, but I can promise in which ones exactly we can communicate through email. And then if you have more questions for 1 week, I will try and make it there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you're happy for me to carry on emailing you when I've got a query.
Yeah. Don't worry.
So basically, it's going to be a case of you're welcome on whenever you want. But if you don't come on, we totally understand why. You know, we all have things. You know, there's times when you know, like I say, every 4 weeks I can't stream because of work. You know, at the end of the day, we all have to earn a living, and we all have family. You know, so we can only make it when we can make it.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else, so I'm going to think about winding up the show now. It's been absolutely brilliant. I was a little bit worried we'd ask sort of 1 or 2 questions and then we'd have nothing left for the show, but it's really it's gone really, really well, and I'm really happy with everything that's happened. So the big question for you guys, viewers, is: are we ready for this tractor? I certainly think so. I mean, I've had most of the parts ready now for a few months, so it's been really, really hard for me. And I'm like, oh, I want to do it now. I want to do it now. But obviously, where I started to set dates and start telling people those dates, I can't then go, oh no, actually, you're going to come on 2 weeks earlier. So yeah. So not next. Oh, so I've got hiccups now. In 2 weeks' time, we'll start the build, and we will be starting on the differential, which will be the rear of the tractor. We're going to stretch it over 3 weeks, which means we won't get a massive amount done each week. But the differential, I think, is really, really fast. I've never come across differential gearing before. And if anyone's bought the parts, they'll know, and also from the descriptions, the differential needs quite a bit of work doing to it before you can start it. And so, of course, I ended up taking the differential. What I found with my diff was it's got a splodge of grease in it, and it's obviously been made by machine. So rather than spreading, if you remember with the cogs with the Routemaster, it kind of squirted one blob of grease in. So you've got a few cogs that have got nothing on it, and then one cog has like got a massive bit. So you got to kind of work that grease in, and I think that's all part of the process.
Yeah.
So yeah, one thing I need to do before we go, I keep forgetting to tell everyone what they need, which is cock things up a little bit. So I'll quickly go through it now. What we've tried to do, because when you order from Banggood, it can take up to a month to arrive. So what we're trying to do is each week we'll say the printed parts that you need for next week, and then the electronic parts you'll need for about 6 weeks. The screws we have actually completely I've resourced the screws. I have a guy that I use on eBay, and his prices are very, very similar to Banggood, but his service is absolutely top notch. So the postage is about 2 or 3 days compared to a month. So the screws, I'm actually saying you'll need this for next week rather than 4 weeks. So I should actually be today, I should be telling you the electronic parts for week 7. So I apologize, but I'm going to do a big old long catch up. So if you don't mind me going through them. Right. So we will need to, I'll do a screen share so you can hopefully see what I'm doing. Share screen, Chrome tab. Actually, we'll do right. Bear with me a sec, guys. You know I'm not brilliant at setting my screens up. I'm not fast. Did you like the video, by the way? I just put something together.
Fabulous.
Yes.
I will say now, for anyone that doesn't like me, that likes to report me, I did ask permission. Well, the owner of the videos is sitting here on the stream. Right, so the parts that we're going to need for week 1 is, I'll list the parts there, but it's essentially all of the black and all of the silver parts. We won't be able to get them all done in 1 or 2 print beds. It might take 3 or 4. What we're trying to do is no more than about 16 hours printing a week. I've got the kind of printer that I can trust to leave and go to work, but some people may only want to do 2 or 3 hours printing a day. So we've tried to put it so that you can split them down into smaller prints. The actual electronics parts we're going to need, you'll have to excuse me, I'm going to be flicking between screens. So the first thing we need is a part that I've called 101. I can't remember if they were listed or not, if I've changed numbers. So we've got the differential, which I will just load that up. I will show you all of the parts, and then obviously you'll be able to see today's cost. So, oh, what's happened there? Of course, we have this problem that my browser really slows down when I'm streaming. So we have the differential, and it costs about £4.61. There may be postage charges on there as well. And this is a 2-part thing. And it's this large part that we're going to be using in week 1. I think the second part comes in week 2. Am I right there, Chris?
Sorry, yes.
Yeah. Large part, that will actually go off and that will drive the wheels directly. And then this smaller part, that will connect. Yeah, so the whole thing will form like a T shape.
Yes,
yeah. So you get the motor coming down the middle of the tractor, and then it goes off in 90-degree angles.
Yes.
So that needs to be ordered for week 1. And I think we did mention this one before, but the next part that we'll need, I think I'm going to make it easy for myself, and I'm going to just move this tab to there. Now, right, sorry, this is where all suddenly the professionalism goes out the window now. So we need the 8x12 by 3.5 bearings, which is this one, I think. I made life easier for myself by ordering all of the bearings in one batch, and then I ain't got to worry about which ones are which, because they just all come together then. So I don't think we need 10 of these, but these are sold in batches of 10. And these are not too expensive at £3.08, which I don't think is awful. It's about 30p a bearing. We have actually put the costings as £3.08p, because although they're 30p a bearing, you can't buy them individually. So we've been a bit kind and said that is the cost. The next part we'll need is not there, is the servo. Right, we're bringing, I brought some of the cables in a little bit early because it saves us going over budget in weeks like 4 or 5 or 2. But again, these are sold in multi-packs. So I think these are 10 servo extension cables, and this is just so that you can run all the cables, because you've got the ESCs at the front of the tractor, but you need that to power the rear of the tractor. So you just need one of these just to extend the cable. We should have all come across these extensions anyway if we build the Routemaster. Lots of extension cables for those. The next part we'll need is the motor axle bearing 102. It's just been so long since I wrote this. This is why I put the numbers in where it didn't have numbers. 102B, there it is. Oh, these are more bearings. And now, although build the tractor, you don't need this many, but I've put 18, and that's because if you build everything, I think, are these the bearings that go in the wheels?
Yes, the front wheels.
Yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, yes.
Yeah. So you will need 2 packs of these, because by the time you've done the 2 trailers and things, you will need 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, well, I worked out it was about 18. So it's about £6 for these bearings, but you will use almost all of them. So that's the parts you will need for week 1. Week 2, I actually, just to save a bit of time, I'll go through just the parts. I won't show you, but now you will need 2 DC motors, and I've labelled them 100A and 100B. But because they're £6.27 each, I'm suggesting you buy one now and one later, because obviously, as you can see there, week 2 is going to come to £18.90. So if you bought both motors, I can't see the point in breaking the bank for something that you won't need for about 6 months. JST connectors I will show you. 109C, there they are. And these are going to require a little bit of work to them. There is an alternative. Many of you know when I do, for example, my LEDs, I actually like to make my LEDs from scratch, but these are basically the plugs. So all you need to do is just solder on the wire or connect the wire, and then you've got a plug. This, although it says 10, it is 10 pairs. So you actually get 20 wires, and you get, there is a male connection, and they plug into a female connection. So one of these will be soldered to the motor so that you can plug the motor into a battery, and then it gives you the correct connection needed to power everything. The next part we'll need is the servo reverser. I will go into more detail when we do the stream, but with the back of the tracks that lift up and down, they're going the wrong way. So they will, I don't know if you can see me. No, you can't see me. I'm trying to show you with my hands, but of course I'm not on. So what happens is, because of the position of the servos, one actually ends up going the wrong way. So one of the servos will plug a servo reverser in, which will make, in effect, it will make the servo go backwards. But by going backwards, it then ends up going the same way as the opposite one.
Correct.
Yeah. And then we have a servo Y connector, and all that is, it plugs into one of the connectors, and then it splits the wire into 2, so that we're controlling 2 servos simultaneously, 2 separate wires. For week 3, we need the servos, and this is quite an expensive item because they're sold in, you can buy them individually, but I think Chris has listed them as packs of 6, and I think that is one of the more cost-effective ways of buying them. But they are £11.73, and you will need some other bearings as well, which obviously you've seen bearings. Week 4.
I think there are also packs of 4. Sorry.
Oh, packs of 4. Okay, maybe I changed them then, and I got some 6. Oh, I probably did actually, because I was doing some electronic sharing with Horlicks. Rather than him buying them and I buy them, we send each other packages anyway, so it's easier for us to buy like 6 and then send 3 off to him.
But you're right that 6 is more cost effective, but if you need 4, I don't know. It depends on the price also.
Of course. Oh, these ones, actually, they're not, I don't think they're the ones that you originally listed, Chris, because the ones you listed just suddenly shot up in price. I think they went from like £10 to £18, and they just got really expensive overnight. So I spent about half an hour research, and I came up with some alternatives. Same servos, just from a different seller.
Okay.
So week 4, we don't need anything at all in the electronics department. Obviously, we've got screws that we need. And what I've done, I'll just go back to the screws. Sorry about this. Week 1, we've bought the screws and nuts that we will actually need. And I think week 2, they are the screws that we'll need. But by the time we get to about week 4, what I've done is I've just chucked in a load of screws that we don't need yet. And then after, I think we buy all of the screws over about 6 or 7 weeks. But the first screws we've bought are the ones we need. And obviously we've got the prints as well. Stage 5 arm rods, and they're actually quite easy to get hold of because they come from a different company, Hobby King, and they're not too expensive and they've actually got quite fast delivery. The caps come from Banggood or AliExpress. I think it's AliExpress.
It's in the list there.
Yeah, I say all links have been provided for what we've sourced them out to. The caps came fairly. If I remember rightly, they came from AliExpress.
Yes, because originally I bought them from Banggood, but
Right.
there weren't anymore. So I shared the internet, and in AliExpress they were quite cheap. So I put the link there.
I've always found AliExpress to be extremely slow delivery, but these caps actually came quite quick. It really did surprise me. And then the next bit is the rear sidearms. Now we've been having a lot of problems with these. They're out of stock at the moment. We did order them and they said expected back in stock at end of August. And then at the end of August, it suddenly changed to expected to be back in stock by end of September. I will show you a bit later on. This is actually a question I need. The steering arms for the front, they're basically rods, and I understand how they work. But I noticed that the rear side arms, they're kind of shaped so that they're fat in the middle. Is that simply to stop the sleeve from going too far back?
Yes.
Right. Because what I've done, I'll just flick the screen back to me. I'm trying an experiment. It may not work. I've bought these. Now, these are, I'll get them out of the packet. Actually, that'd be a lot easier, won't it? These are the same as the front steering arms, except these are an M2 and not M3, and they're longer. And I don't know if this is going to work, but I'll give it a go. I think if I can just make a small tube, a little sleeve, and just pop that over there, and then that will make the rear end fatter, and then that will stop that bit from going too far back.
Yes, it will work like that. Yes, yeah. It was because I had them, but you can do that perfectly.
Yeah, I haven't really. I've only planned it theoretically in my head, and the main problem I've got is I haven't been able to find these at this length in M3, which is the size that we need. So
that's true with these rods. Sometimes I also have problems because it's like they keep changing them, and sometimes they have stock, they don't have stock, so it's difficult sometimes. But I think your idea is really good, and it's going to work
if I can get it together. Yeah,
sure.
So that's, but again, we've got about 3 months before we actually need it, so it may not be a problem. I might have plenty of time. Right, so yeah, that is, I'm calling that problem week, because they're a little bit tricky to get hold of those. Then on to week 6, we need the LEDs, and this is for the headlights. Now I've actually bought the LEDs, and they're very nice, and If there was a problem with those, I could actually make those myself, and I probably will make some as well. If any of you watch my R2D2 videos, you'll see that I'm actually soldering my own LEDs up, because it costs about 5 pence to make your own, and these are 17p each. When you're dealing with 2 or 3, that's, you might as well buy them. But when you need 360 of them, you can see it does make a difference with the cost. And then the next 2 components is just cables. And there's 101 places you can buy electrical cable from. In fact, most of you could probably go out tomorrow and pick some up from your local store. But I've used the recommended Banggood one just to see what the product is like. And then on to week 7, the only electronic we need to buy is the ESC. Now, I've noticed, this is another question for you. I've noticed that we're using 3 different ESCs listed in the projects. It might just be that you've sourced them as they've come. But yeah, I've had a little play with the transmitter, and I thought, here it is. This is the receiver from the remote control bit, and from what I can see, you need to plug the battery and an ESC into the port 2. But that will then supply all of the ports. So does that mean that we only need 1 ESC for the whole project, or do we need every one that you've listed?
No, you need more because you have to control the motor. No, you need, because that power seat, if you're going to use this receiver, let me try to explain. The receiver is going to power, for example, if you use some LEDs, it's okay. You can power them for them. But if you're going to use a motor, it's going to need more amps, okay? More current.
Right.
So that receiver is not going to give enough juice or amps. So you're going to need another ESC. I'm using one for the tractor, one for the trailer and dumper trailer. And if you want, you can use for the lifter, or with 2, it's going to be okay, because you're going to use one for a tractor and one for the thing that you have connected to the tractor.
Right. Okay. Then.
So lifter and fertilizer and dumper trailer can use the same ESC, because the ESC is going to be in the tractor, and then you're going to switch tools.
Right. So I don't know much about the ESCs. That's, this is where my knowledge is progressing. And hopefully I'd like to invite you on another show to talk to us perhaps about the parts. But in a most basic level, is an ESC, is that actually controlling the power? So if something's drawing a lot of power, the ESC is going to deliver more. And then if it gets something else that doesn't require a lot, it'll back off how much power it gives it.
Yes, that's correct. I'm no expert, okay, but I know what I need for this kind of projects. I know it, but yes, that's true. For example, the servo, you can you power it through this receiver, okay. But if I know some people that uses very powerful servos, they need external power.
Right.
For this servo, it's going to be okay. You don't need external power. But some projects that use very powerful servos, they need external power for them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, because I think there's 3 different ESCs that you've listed, and I bought exactly the ones that you've ordered. I'll pull up the list. They may actually be the same, but so we've got this one. Now I'll just load the pages up there. This is for the whole project, not just the tractor, by the way. Right, got an ESC with a break. Oh, why is that now opened up a new page? Right. So, in no particular order, what we have is this is taking ages to load, as it always does. So this is DIY Mini Z car bi-directional 30 amp miniature brushed ESC with brake.
Okay.
And the
So
URL, I call this the Mosquito because the URL says DIY Mosquito, blah, blah, blah. Another ESC you've given us is, and you got to understand, to me, these all look the same.
Yes, they are. I think I have both of them, and they are almost the same. Maybe
Right.
I order one of them first and then the other one, because sometimes there is one that there's no stock.
Yes,
But-
that's what I wondered. I've actually used the ones that
Yeah.
you've listed.
But there is one difference, as you can see there. One is without brake, and the other ones are with brake.
Yes, but at this particular point, I have no idea what brake is and what it isn't.
Okay, I can explain. That means that if it does have brake, you have to stop before like going backwards. Okay, so you go forward with throttle, then it's not going to go directly to backwards. You have to stop in the middle and then go backwards. That is with brake.
Gotcha.
And when if you go directly from forward to backwards, it's going to brake.
So this is the one where, say, you've got full throttle going back.
Yes.
You then have to go forwards to stop.
To brake, yes.
Then go forwards again
To go
backwards.
correct.
And then if you suddenly go like that, it won't shoot forwards. It'll stop.
No. Yeah, from backward to forward, yes.
Yeah.
Not from
yeah,
backward.
I know there's one. I say it won't go forwards to backwards, or is it the other way around?
Won't go forward to backwards.
Yeah. So you actually have to, you've got full throttle forwards. You then push it all the way forwards to stop.
Yes.
You then release back to the natural position,
Yes.
then push it forwards in order to make it go backwards or something like that. So that's what the brake does.
If it doesn't have brake, you can go directly from backwards to forwards without making this double tap.
Right. What I've actually done, because like I say, to me, these ESCs are pretty much the same. Visually, they're the same. So what I've done is when I ordered them, when they've arrived, I've then gone on to Banggood, looked at my orders, and then looked for anything to identify. And then with my label maker, I very quickly made a label. I'll see if I can.
I did exactly the same.
Yeah.
With my permanent maker, I wrote something.
So there you go. I don't know what ESC that is, but it's a 903W. That's why I had to change some of your numbers. I've added the letter. In fact, 9. I think the 9s you didn't have a number for, so I've created a number. So I don't know what ESC that is, but I know where to find it on the spreadsheet. So I think that's actually ESC with brake because it's got instructions with it. It's the only one that came with instructions.
The one with brake goes with the tractor, and the without brake goes with the other things: damper trailer, lifter, and fertilizer.
Yeah, because the bright idea that I had was to lump all the parts together on the spreadsheet. Of course, what that meant was that by the time I've lumped them all together, I can't remember what part is for what piece of the project. So, you could end up, oh, right, this is the bit I need. No, that's for the trailer. No, and this one's for that. But yeah, we will get there. So I think that takes us to week 7. Yeah. So let me just share this URL if you don't mind. I have shared this before, but there might be people who haven't seen it. So the raw spreadsheet, I don't think that shows as a link because of the format of it. So you have to copy and paste it. But by all means, have a look at that spreadsheet. It's got a little bit of a planner on it. If you go on to the Macket website, you'll see the original spreadsheet. And that obviously lists everything. He's got lots of different tabs on the bottom. So each tab only deals with one thing. So you've got the tractor, you've got the electronics, you've got the lifter, and they're all separate tabs, which is, I think we've made this slightly more confusing, but at the same time simpler. So I will quickly show you week 8, which is a week ahead, but I can see, oops, sorry, I haven't shared the screen properly. My bad. Right. So as it happens, week 8, there's no electronics needed. Yeah. So there's no electronics needed for week 8. So that's handy as well. So, also a lot of these and I'm going to recommend this. Sorry, I put the wrong view on. Nearly all of these parts with standard delivery will take up to 20 business days and they'll be untracked. So you've got no idea where they are when they're coming. I'm going to recommend a little trick. I had a problem with Yodel, who is a UK courier company. I got a calling card through my door one day to say, we tried to deliver. This is the 3rd attempt. It's now gone back to the depot in Cardiff. What they'd done is they'd made 3 previous attempts, but not actually left me a card. So there was no second and third chance for me because they hadn't left a card. What I've been doing since is I've been upgrading my postage to tracked, but it then comes within up to 9 days. It costs about £1.40 extra per parcel. But if you're someone like me who works long hours and there's no one else at the house, it's actually quite a good option. But like I said, it does cost more money. But as I say, you get what you pay for. But it does speed the delivery up almost to twice the speed. So over twice the speed. So that's something I would look into. So that is the parts up to date, I hope. So 2 weeks time we will start that. So what we're planning to do, actually I've gone way too far ahead. I would be telling you about week 7 at week 1. So that's great. I've actually got myself ahead. So are you happy with that presentation, Chris?
Yes.
Is there anything that you think of that I might have missed out?
No, I think that's sometimes some of the links, maybe they don't have stock, or I try to change them if I see something it's not working. But you can always search for a similar thing. I think if you don't find anything, you can ask, or you can search in the same, or AliExpress or Hobby King.
Right. So most of these things, are they all the right size? I mean, if one of the things that worries me is, I mean, obviously the bearings are quite precise because, for example, it could it if we got different servos, could it be a case of the screw holes are now in the wrong place?
But with the servos, I don't think so, because it's the micro servo size. Maybe they are slightly like 1 millimeter bigger or smaller, but the holes, I think they are in the same place.
Right. Okay. That's yeah. Because when I'm looking at a project that I haven't built it, I haven't designed it, I will just blindly buy whatever they tell me to buy because I know that will fit because that's what the designer has used. Just wondering, actually, curiosity, did you was any of this built around the dimensions of the parts, or did you get the parts to fit into the tractor? That may not have made sense.
Well, I mean, I think I understood. Your question is if I think first of the part and then design, or the other way around?
Right. Okay.
Normally, sometimes I try to find first the part, because if I design something and then there is no part, or it's difficult to find, or it's very expensive, it's okay. I design it, but then I can't use it. So if I need something specific, I try to find a cheap solution to buy and then design around it.
Brilliant. So it is fair to say that you have designed this for as many people as possible to make it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
I
brilliant.
think so.
Because there was a project I was looking at, and it looked absolutely amazing. And I looked, it's Tamiya this and that, and I'm thinking probably going to spend about £200-300 on parts. And I'm like, if I could work out the dimensions of the parts, I would be looking at a cheap. I mean, you probably get a better quality part by buying specialist radio control parts, but you know, it kind of spoils the build a little bit, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah, of course. For example, this radio, for me, it's really good, but for a like enthusiast or a hobby, like a person that likes very much RC is going to say that it's, you know, it's crap or something like that, because
yeah. But then if you really are seriously into your radio control vehicles,
you already have a very good one.
Exactly. Yeah.
3 or 4 times the
yeah.
cost
I mean,
of it.
Was it you, Jay, who sourced out another receiver?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's fine. You know, yours. I mean, obviously, when I'm going through the receiver, I'm going to be going through my receiver. So obviously, if you've gone out and sourced a cheaper one or a better one or more expensive, then obviously you're going to have to interpret my instructions to fit yours.
Yes.
But yeah, that's. But again, we've gone in at sort of mid-level here, haven't we? Low to middle level. If you want to take it further, that.
The ASC, for example, it's very cheap, and it, you know, if you are in RC projects, you're going to use a much better one. But for this tractor and this kind of motor, it's okay. It works. It just works.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely perfect. For you know, for my purposes, I want to build something with a good end result, and that's exactly what we're getting with this. If I wanted to build this to enter tractor contests, then I'd probably be looking at upgrading the parts. But for the purposes that I want to build it for, it far exceeds my needs. It's spot on. Right, so we have run to 2 hours. I thought this was going to be a short stream, and I didn't mean to keep you quite so long, Chris, but our streams run from anything from an hour to 4.5 hours. We really don't know how it's going to go. But what I'll do, excuse me, I've got hiccups again now. I'm going to wind the show up, so I'm going to let everybody say goodbye. I really hope you join us in a couple of weeks' time. I am really bursting to go with this one. So, yeah, take care, guys. I'll say it's goodbye from Fleetwood.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Chris, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problems.
Nice to meet you.
And it's goodbye from Dave Say.
And it's goodbye from me. Thanks ever so much for the informative meeting we've had tonight, Chris. It's very informative indeed, and I'm sure that will be lots more questions coming your way over the following weeks and months. But thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, and I'll let Chris close out the show. Take care, guys.
So thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, Nat. It's been like very nice to meet you all. I think you are quite like nice people, and I would say like honest, or I don't know how to explain it, but you spend your time doing what you like and not. There are lots of worse things. We like to do tractors and buses and wherever. That's okay. We spend our time in that. And I will try to be, and then I don't know the next one, but I'll try. Okay, I can't promise. I don't want to say something and then don't do it. So I will try. I will do my best. And it's been a pleasure. Nice to meet you all. And that's it. Hope you like my project.
So thank you very much, all three of you, for joining me. It's been an absolute honor. So take care, everybody, and hopefully I'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.